Now, over the years, you've probably tried different investments in stocks and mutual funds. So you know they can be volatile and unpredictable. But with inflation running at its highest rate in 40 years, do you want volatility and uncertainty? Being able to sleep at night knowing your investment isn't about to crash is worth its weight in gold. And speaking of gold, if you've been jumping from one investment idea to the next, a gold IRA and Noble Gold is perfect for you. A reliable hedge against inflation just fell in our laps. With gold, you shield your gains from taxes, you keep the real value of your wealth, you own a global asset, something tangible, and you can help protect your wealth against an economic crash. What's not to like? And this month, for every IRA above $20,000, you'll get an incredible 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin, completely free as a thank you. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Mike is a little bit upset because we switched up the intros. I didn't like the stiff intros where we had to like wait to introduce the guests to show them on the screen. As you can see, Mike's a little bit upset about it.
It is what it is.
He's having a little bit of an episode, but we're here for another episode, and we have a great guest. Her name's Dr. Amy Putrus-Schnell. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I've known Amy we were just talking before, for almost a year, and I'd never known how to pronounce your last name until now.
It's a tough one. It's long. It's German. It's
a lot of consonants.
Yeah, a lot of consonants. Petrus also often gets mispronounced.
Do they usually say
Putrus?
Putrus? Yeah, because when I looked at it, I thought it was going to be Putrus.
Petrus Greek?
It just sounds. It's my husband's last name, and they are Middle Eastern from Iraq.
Ah, Iraq.
He's full-blooded Iraqi?
Yeah. Both of his parents are from Iraq.
Oh, okay.
He was born in San Diego.
Okay, I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't live there for very long, but I was born there.
Wow.
Were you born in New York?
Yes.
Oh. Amy is a doctor. She's a functional medicine doctor and a chiropractor. A lot of people have been looking forward to this episode because we haven't done a health episode. I mean, Emily the doula
kind of
but it was more like pregnancy, maternity health. This is the first health focused episode that we've done, and a lot of people are excited because we're not exactly.
Well, based on analytics of what our YouTube viewers search, it's a lot of food and it's a lot of health. I was surprised because YouTube has released a new feature called Research, where you can see what your viewers are searching for on YouTube.
That's almost a bit freaky.
It is a bit freaky, but it helps you kind of tailor the type of content to what your viewers are looking for. Also, there's a new YouTube feature called YouTube Thanks, where you guys can send us tips as a thank you. It's in like the new monetization. So you know how they're the super chats for a live stream?
Yeah.
Now there's something called YouTube Thanks, where people could just say, hey, thanks for doing what you do. You guys should do that.
You should.
Thank us. We have a ton of questions, but obviously we're not going to get into that yet. So I know some people, I didn't actually know what a functional medicine doctor was. I had heard that term before, and I know a lot of followers don't know what that is. So why don't you tell us what a functional medicine doctor is, how it differs from a mainstream medicine doctor, and what it is that you do as a functional medicine doctor.
Cool. I think you really hit home because it's hard to describe what a functional medicine doctor is sometimes without just comparing it to a conventional doctor or allopathic medicine, however you want to call it. And there's a lot of differences. I think at the foundation, the just experience of what a human being is totally different. So in a functional medicine approach, the foundation is that the body is self-healing and self-regulating and is infinitely wise and doesn't make mistakes. Wherein sort of an allopathic model or that conventional model, it's a much different approach, that the human body has a lot of limitations and we need to apply technology or control-based interventions or, always throwing things at it to minimize symptoms rather than utilizing those symptoms and understanding that they are messengers for what's going on. You can kind of think about it as like a smoke detector. if the alarm is going off, it alerts you that something is going on, but it doesn't necessarily tell you where the fire is. But in a conventional approach, we often just want to turn the smoke detector off and not actually deal with the fire. And so functional medicine really looks to understand the root cause or the underlying dysfunctions and imbalances and works to address those with natural therapies. So in a conventional approach, you're usually going to see drugs or surgery be applied. And, you know, there's a time and a place for that. If you're experiencing a heart attack or, you know, like in the case of appendicitis, drugs and surgery can be life-saving. But we've now tried to apply this to what we call chronic illnesses, which are often lifestyle driven. And that approach just doesn't work there. And it's not being addressed in the conventional model. So that's sort of where functional medicine comes in the sense that it does. It looks at those root causes and works to address them.
Yeah, because most Americans suffer from a chronic illness now.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 adults.
6 out of 10?
At least one. Yeah.
60%.
Yeah.
60%.
Wow.
Or you could say 60 out of 100. You could say 600 out of 1,000.
You could say it a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are leading causes of death and disability. You know, I believe it's 7 out of every 10 deaths could be attributed to a chronic disease or something that is preventable.
70%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I was just about to ask you while you were talking about the differences between functional and conventional. Like, is there anything that if someone was experiencing, you would say, okay, this is something that this person would need to see a conventional doctor for, like appendicitis, like a heart attack, like something like that makes sense. But, you know, if someone's like, I've got this headache, I just can't get rid of it, it would probably be something where you'd say, okay, start with me.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. I mean, headaches, just as an example, are very multifactorial and can be coming from a lot of different things.
Right.
But certainly, if something's not life-threatening, you're probably better off seeing someone who takes a more holistic approach, because so many of the things that people experience now are lifestyle driven, unless it's an emergency, an accident, or something that's life-threatening. Otherwise,
what do you treat mainly? Like, what do a lot of people have that you're treating?
So I don't like to put labels on things. You know, we like to put everything in boxes. And
Right.
Say,
or maybe like the most common issue.
For sure. Yeah. Honestly, people come to me with a variety of symptoms. Sometimes they've already been diagnosed with whatever it might be, a thyroid condition or diabetes or something. And there are certainly markers that put you in that box where, okay, this is the condition that you have. But honestly, it's usually a myriad of symptoms that people have, and they have not found what's going on. I know that doesn't really answer the question, because it's honestly just a variety of symptoms. But if we do want to put labels on it, I see a lot of autoimmune conditions.
Okay.
So a lot of like Hashimoto's thyroid, eczema, other things that fall under the autoimmune umbrella. I see a lot of hormonal imbalances, lots of hormonal imbalances, whether that's reproductive stuff or stress stuff. I mean, thyroid's a hormone as well.
So you mentioned eczema. Like, so can people come with you with skin issues?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So eczema is actually autoimmune driven. So that's lifestyle driven.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. What would separate someone going to, let's say, a dermatologist versus going to you?
The system and your belief system. I think this is where it kind of comes into that foundational difference, where if you have a skin condition and you go to a conventional dermatologist, it tends to be that you're going to receive, you know, some sort of cream or something to try and make the symptom go away.
But not the problem or the cause.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Whereas if you see someone like a functional medicine doctor and they see that you're experiencing eczema, we're going to understand that that's more likely an immune system issue and work to address the immune system, and therefore the eczema goes away. It's more of a, you know, how do we actually get remission?
Right.
How do we, chronic illness, it's sort of been labeled chronic illnesses, and that like the expectation is that they're going to exist in perpetuity. but they don't really have to.
Right.
We can reverse these things.
Interesting.
We can experience remission.
Yeah.
So like the dermatologist would be kind of like the quick fix, like, hey, can you fix this quickly?
I guess another analogy is like just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yes.
They just put the Band-Aid with like cream or medicine or whatever. So say you have somebody that comes to you with an autoimmune condition. I mean, I guess this is probably a broad question, but what are the most common prescriptions, I guess, that you would give to patients like that? Like, what are the main lifestyle changes that you find people have to make?
If we find that someone's autoimmune, or perhaps they've been diagnosed or it's been found in the conventional model that they have an autoimmune condition, the conventional model would say there is no treatment. They will give a steroid. That tends to be what happens because they are at least understanding that now it's an immune issue. And so a steroid suppresses your immune system. So in autoimmune conditions, we tend to have an overreaction within the immune system. And so they'll say, well, let's just give you a steroid to suppress your immune system. But now you're more susceptible to infection or other illnesses because you've lowered the capacity of your own immune system. In functional medicine, we work on eliminating things that trigger the overreaction in your immune system. So we'll work on dietary stuff. Oftentimes food is a really big trigger. Stress is also a really big trigger for autoimmune stuff. So it's really about minimizing the things that are driving the immune system to act in a dysfunctional way.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting because we talk about this a lot. It's like most of the time diet is like one of the main causes of a lot of. So talk about what you see. Talk about what you see about the standard American diet. So let's talk about the standard American diet and then what are some like easy steps that people can take to move away from the standard American diet in order to treat their body right?
As an example, if anyone comes to me and wants to take a functional medicine approach, I pretty much always, I think we were talking about this yesterday, immediately we're going to start talking about removing gluten and dairy. Conventional dairy is one of our biggest food sensitivities, and for multiple reasons. Our cows are shot up with antibiotics, they're fed a heavy grain-based diet at the end of their life cycle to fatten them up before they go to the butcher. This makes them sick, so that's where the antibiotics come in. Just even the way that they are butchered and killed elicits a stress response. And so all of this then is passed on to you. So that's even in the milk. And so anyways, dairy and gluten are immediately first things that I would remove. But it's more nuanced than that. Moving away from processed food, for sure. I think we have a really unhealthy relationship with food in the sense that we don't understand really what it's doing for us. It's not just to kind of keep you full and sustained. Food is literally what your body needs to run its biological processes. You need the vitamins and the minerals to actually, for your body to carry out the processes that it's intended to. And so if you're not giving it that, if you're just giving it processed food, things are going to start to dysfunction. So eating a whole foods, things that come from the earth, are what's going to actually help you sustain life and function appropriately.
And you're not necessarily like pushing people towards veganism or anything like that.
Oh no,
right.
No. If someone wants to adopt a vegan way of life, I think there are several conversations that we could have around veganism. It's, in my opinion, difficult to get everything that you need. Honestly, I approach nutrition when I think about what did some of our most primal ancestors do, because that's how humans evolved. What did they eat? And they certainly ate meat. Did they eat it as often as we do now? No. I mean, they had to kill. So they didn't have the access that we do. I think the source of your food is important, but no, I don't push a particular diet other than eating in a anti-inflammatory, nutrient-dense way. So minimize the inflammation that your food is causing and make sure that you're getting a wide variety of nutrients.
Does every food have the potential to be inflammatory? Or there's some foods that have like a very like low, not risk, but like a low impact of inflammation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, well, in a sense, every food has the potential to be inflammatory because just our relationship with food, I mean, you can create it in your own mind.
And everybody's different.
Totally.
Right.
Everyone's different. It depends on the state of your gut, how well can you digest things. Even vegetables have their own defense mechanisms built in. And some are harder to digest than others. But does that mean that we can't eat them or shouldn't eat them? No, not necessarily. We just want to understand, where that person's gut health is at that present time. What can they eat that's not going to create an inflammatory response? But there are generally foods for sure that will 100% invoke an inflammatory response.
I was talking to Carly about something because I was like, I really kind of going to miss this. And she's like, well, this is harder to digest than this. So you try that and see how see how that feels.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Do you have a lot of people that come to you, patients that come to you that have been going to conventional doctors for a long time and they just feel like they're hitting their head against the wall, they're not getting answers, and they come to you almost frustrated?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you've been practicing functional medicine or something, because that's literally the most common thread is that I've done X, Y, Z. I've seen everyone. I've tried everything, seen the specialists, and just are fed up. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a different approach. And, even if you have seen it, like people, really speak highly of, I've seen the specialist, but you have to understand that a specialist is looking through a fairly narrow lens rather than looking at the body as a whole. So even like we were just talking about a skin issue, a dermatologist is a skin expert, but the skin issue might not be just a skin issue.
Right.
And so if you're looking at it from a specialist point of view, you might be missing the whole picture. So that's really a positive in the functional medicine approach. Now, not every functional medicine practitioner practices the same way. I have noticed that some are starting to bring in protocols, which I think still can benefit a lot of people. But when you start applying a protocol approach to functional medicine, to me, it's not really functional medicine anymore, because now you're just treating the label as if it's that, and everyone needs to heal in the same way.
So protocol is basically assigning the same protocol, obviously, but the same, what could take place of the word protocol? The same steps to treating something.
Yes. Yeah.
So if someone comes in with, okay, I have eczema. So if a functional medicine doctor has a protocol for that, he's going to treat every patient in the same way.
Totally.
Versus with that one. Okay.
It's not that a lot of functional medicine doctors do that. I've just noticed, I've probably seen it more in the sense of like, here's our gut repair protocol, which I will probably benefit a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's sort of moving away from that functional medicine approach, and that you're not looking at the individual. You're just treating them now as if their gut is in the same state as everyone else's who has a messed up gut, and they need to do this same gut repair protocol, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then we also have, functional medicine uses really advanced sort of state-of-the-art lab testing, much different than, what you get in a conventional approach. You still have some similarities for sure.
But is the blood testing different?
So blood testing is, we can certainly have similar markers.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, I would say, generally, if you're going to a functional medicine doctor and having your blood work done, you're going to get more comprehensive markers from a functional medicine doctor.
Really?
But some of the real differences are in the way that they are looked at. So if you have your blood run in a conventional model and you get your results back and, they're compared to this reference range, that reference range is an average of anyone that has had their blood work done in that lab. So that sort of geographic location.
Okay.
So we just talked about, 6 out of 10 US adults have a chronic illness. So our average is not healthy.
Right.
So if your marker falls within that normal reference range, normal doesn't indicate healthy, right? It's just what's common. So functional medicine has developed its own range, an optimal range.
Right.
And that's based more on literature that says these are the numbers that actually indicate optimal function or health. So it's usually just a tighter range on both ends generally.
Seems like what you would want to do.
Seems like common sense.
Seems like it. Yes.
I just did my labs. Amy is my doctor now, and I just got my labs done on Monday. I don't even know if you got the results yet. But
partial
okay.
results are
Ooh,
in.
how's she looking?
Looking good.
Doctor-patient confidentiality.
I was telling you, I was so nervous because I don't think I've ever gotten my labs done. I've always been really curious about it. When I was pregnant, I was like, I know when I'm done having the baby, I want to like get my labs done and see what it is. And before I went, I looked at her and her husband, and I was like, what if I'm really messed up? I don't know about it, but I don't think I'm that messed up.
What's the training like between a conventional medical student and then a functional medical student?
So functional medicine is additional training that a already licensed practitioner can undergo. Oh. So you might have an MD that goes on to study functional medicine.
Oh, interesting.
So chiropractors are DCs. You have DCs that go on to study functional medicine. So really anyone can be a functional medicine doctor. Oh. It just seems to have started in the alternative world, but now we have a lot of MDs who are sort of waking up to the model not working for a lot of people, and so moving towards that functional approach. And so it's just additional certification. There are a couple of different routes that you can.
How long do those usually go on for?
It's a couple
of years.
I mean, you can do it at your own pace. Really, It's about 250 additional hours.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That you go through. Yeah.
Cool.
And ongoing. I mean, if you truly want to remain a relevant functional doctor, it's always ongoing education,
right?
Because everything, I mean, eggs were bad, then eggs were good, and everything changes, and that's
So you went to chiropractor school first,
correct?
Okay,
yeah.
And now
you went to Quack University.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I love going to the chiropractor. Whenever I post little snippets on my Instagram, I just got adjusted. It's interesting, the responses, because a lot of people actually think that you guys are quacks. Like they think that chiropractors are these like wacky hippies that go around and set people's bones and just make you crack and that's it.
Yeah, can we talk about where they base that off of?
Yeah, because I know Amy's got a lot to say about this one.
I mean, you feel that way because of propaganda, literally. So in the 60s, the American Medical Association decided that they didn't like the chiropractic profession and they wanted to do away with it. The American Medical Association is an association that influences the practice of medicine and hospital protocols in a sense. So it influences the way that medicine is provided to people. And it began in Iowa, but eventually became a nationwide conspiracy, essentially, to contain and eliminate the chiropractic profession. So they formed a committee on quackery. I believe it used to be the committee of chiropractic.
It was called that?
Oh, yeah.
See, it actually is propaganda. Yeah, it's like legit propaganda.
Yeah, it's wild. And this is, this story, like understanding this is really relevant to every human. While it might sound like, oh, this chiropractor is just bitter about what happened, to her profession. Really, when you think about the influence that it played really in everyday life, which I'll kind of get to. But so anyways, it used to be, I believe, the Committee of Chiropractic became the Committee on Quackery. And literally its goal, this is all found, this was in a lawsuit, a court case. They were found guilty of conspiring to eliminate the chiropractic profession. So they did things like, they held nationwide conferences for the AMA members on chiropractic, which was not a positive view on chiropractic. They distributed anti-chiropractic literature and propaganda. They assisted other organizations of generating anti-chiropractic literature. They opposed inroads for chiropractors in health insurance and workers' compensation. They actually went to the point to label chiropractors as an unscientific cult. And so, and this is, remind you, this is distributed to physicians. I think the AMA now has I don't know, over 200,000 members or something.
Was this all in the 60s that this stuff started?
So it started in the 60s. The lawsuit was completed 1984 or 6 or around there. So for decades, some of this behavior was going on.
Wow.
Well, here's the question, okay? Because I know a lot of people in the defense of chiropractors say, okay, well, they don't write scripts, so Big Pharma has it out against them too. Was Big Pharma involved early on in the 60s, or?
I mean, it doesn't, whenever you review the court case, it doesn't talk specifically about the pharmaceutical industry.
They're always involved.
Right. Yeah. One can only assume.
Yeah.
One can only assume. And the AMA.
I'm just trying to think about like what is their big, like, are they worried about business being stolen from them? Okay.
Right. So their defense was that chiropractic was unscientific, and therefore
a scam.
Essentially they wouldn't support it being utilized for patients. So it was they tried to frame it as though it was about patient care. You know, they were concerned for patients. Meanwhile, at the same time, there's already literature that says, you know, chiropractic is 2 times as effective at treating musculoskeletal issues or pain stuff and returning workers to work than seeing a medical doctor. Mm-hmm. So they had this information, and that's just the angle that they took. But the reason why they were eventually found guilty is because the judge determined that they had economic components to why they were doing what they were doing. It's competition, right?
You're like fighting monopolistic almost.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's the assumption, is that they wanted to maintain a monopoly over healthcare, essentially, and chiropractic. So chiropractors were denied access to hospitals because they were labeled as unscientific. Physicians or medical physicians couldn't make referrals to chiropractors. Chiropractors can refer to medical doctors. They were denied x-rays, or, you know, just really shut out from trying to participate in patient care.
Can they do that now, though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys, chiropractors, were oppressed.
Yeah.
You guys were...
They're an oppressed peoples.
You were an oppressed people.
The Mormons of the medical industry, I guess.
Lol.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kai. Still come on the show.
Yeah.
So that's where quack came from.
In the sense of chiropractors being labeled that, yes. And so as I was kind of speaking to, you know, it's important for people to understand that, because that translates to your care. You know, if we had patients going to, I think, you know, up till very recently, and it might still be, the number one reason someone visits their primary care physician, which tends to be a medical doctor, which I don't think a lot of people know, but chiropractors are also primary care physicians. Mm-hmm. They just don't really function that way in society generally. But, you know, we're trained to look in your ear or look in your eye, or, you know, we have the training of a primary care physician. If people were, the number one reason people were going were for things like back pain. And so imagine if the system were designed to refer immediately to a chiropractor rather than prescribe an opioid or something. I actually believe that chiropractic could have single-handedly stopped the opioid crisis, to be honest.
Yeah, wow.
But that's not the way the system is designed. Oh. And so this whole, you know, propaganda machine of labeling chiropractors as quacks really has trickled down to society, and it influences your health and your healthcare. You know, imagine if your pain or whatever, we'll kind of talk about, you know, chiropractic is much more than about managing pain, but imagine if it were managed through chiropractic and someone didn't get addicted to a drug or wasn't sent for surgery. And I know how possible it is because I see it every day, and I see my colleagues, you know, able to provide that for someone in that sense. So it really does trickle down to the everyday person.
Yeah, because chiropractors, I mean, from the chiropractors that I've interacted with, you guys really believe in this concept that the human body is designed to heal itself when it's given the right tools and it's given the right environment. But medical doctors, I mean, it's like, I'm honestly at a point, I think probably everybody in this room is at a point where it's just like mainstream medicine just really upsets me. It's just like, I feel like, what are you guys even doing? Like I see so many women, they'll like DM me or they'll come to me and they say that they go to their doctor with questions about birth control, or they go to their doctor about questions with back pain, and they get totally dismissed and they're not heard and they're not listened to. And the doctors will roll their eyes at them and say, oh, the chiropractor's not going to do anything for you. Oh, they're just going to take your money. They just need to see you once a week. It never really works. Well, obviously you got to go more than once. I mean, do you go to the gym once a month?
Totally.
Do you eat protein once a month? No, of course you have to do things for yourself on a regular basis that are good for your body. So I'm at a point where I'm just like, all these medical doctors can just shove it where the sun don't shine.
I have a question. Have you heard the podcast or watched the show that came out recently called Dr. Death?
No.
It's about a neurosurgeon. Oh, it's great. Joshua Jackson's in it. He gets really fat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like him.
So it's about a neurosurgeon who is killing and paralyzing his patients, because I thought neurosurgeons were literal brain surgeons, and I didn't realize that this specialty is spine surgeries. And he was just hacking away at people. And these two doctors in Texas noticed this because they were doing surgeries to help fix the people who were hurt by this doctor. And they were like, spine's all like, it's a really fascinating show.
Is it a true story?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a true story.
Wow.
So what I'm wondering is, because obviously there's so much medical malpractice, and I think this guy was doing it on purpose, what they found out. Is there any record of, or has there any big issue of chiropractic? Like, are there any like malpractice suits brought to chiropractors? Like, do chiropractors, are they known for causing as much harm as, like, let's say, like, the whole medical profession as a whole?
That is a great question. My malpractice insurance is $1,000 a year. That is as low as it gets. And that is because there aren't, there's that few claims made against chiropractors.
What would be the average, what would be the average yearly for someone who has his own practice, or do you even know?
I don't know. I know that anesthesiologists, I believe, are at the top of that, and it's maybe like 100,000, I want to say.
A year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that, because I really don't.
Like, anesthesiologists do well.
But that malpractice insurance number is a great gauge on how dangerous is this, because that is, it's put in place by looking at how many claims are made against these people. Now, in saying that, this propaganda machine loves to highlight when something does happen at a chiropractor's office. So the main thing would be featuring a stroke, where a patient had a stroke or something after visiting a chiropractor. We have a lot of studies that chiropractic adjustments don't just cause someone to have a stroke. In fact, you are more likely to have a stroke after visiting a medical doctor's office than you are a chiropractor's office. But the way that, society likes to...
Yeah, because I always hear...
Kind of like pit bulls.
Whenever... Mike's always got to bring it back to pit bulls. Mike is a pit bull apologist. We can get into that later, though. One of the things that people always say to me whenever I just mention going to the chiropractor is like, aren't you scared? Aren't you scared they're going to hurt you? And I'm like, I'm a lot less scared going to my chiropractor than I am to the hospital or to the medical doctor. That's for sure.
It's also, people have never had like an adjustment or anything like that, and they see it and they're like, whoa, there's so many ways this could go wrong.
I'm sure. I'll say an adjustment
looks gnarly.
It looks much more gnarly than it actually is. It actually feels great. And then even when, there's enough, I hate the word stigma, but let's just use it. There's a lot of stigma around going to a chiropractor as an adult, let alone bringing your child. I brought my daughter to her husband, Anthony. That's how we met. So I went, when we moved here, I was like, I got to go to the chiropractor. I just randomly walked into a facility and Dr. Anthony was there, and we just kind of like hit it off and we were talking. And then, so we kind of developed a relationship, and my daughter had a mild birth injury because she had shoulder dystocia, which means that her shoulder got stuck under my pelvic bone. So they were really like, the doctor was yanking her out. Like it was a lot on her. And so she had a very mild torticollis, which is a twisting of the neck. And Anthony was like, you can bring her in for an adjustment like as soon as you want. Because a colleague of his said that when his baby was born, he gave the baby an adjustment within like 90 minutes of being born. And so I brought in my daughter, I think she was less than a week old, and she was going like kind of regularly to Anthony and to physical therapy, and her injury just like it was gone. It was solved. But all that to say is that when I mentioned that I brought my daughter to see a chiropractor, I had my inbox was flooded with people they were rabid. They were so furious at the idea that I would trust a chiropractor with my daughter. And they were like, what kind of mother are you? That's child abuse. What are you thinking? I can't even take you seriously anymore. Wow. I could not believe, like, I got more backlash for bringing my daughter to a chiropractor than I did when I said that we should close the borders and not have any more immigrants come into the country for a while. Like that's like, apparently that's my most controversial take.
Works.
Yeah.
Apparently my most controversial take is that my daughter should go to a chiropractor and have care. And it was great care. And like, look, all that to say is when you look at an adult getting adjusted, it's not like that for a baby. They're not like cracking her. It was very much like Anthony showed me. He took my arm. He was like, it's going to be like this.
Yeah. It's like how you would, feel for an avocado ripeness.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Or about the pressure you would place on your eyeball. So try that now.
Oh, interesting. Do you ever close your eyes and press down on your eyeballs and then you feel like, I used to do this when I was younger, like be like, well, I'm doing DMT when I was like 8, because you'd see like
how did you know what DMT was when you were 8?
I didn't. I'm saying that now.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? If you close your eyes and press down on your eyeballs and you hold it for like 10 seconds, you start to see like colors and shapes.
Kaleidoscope?
Yeah. Are we all doing it?
Yeah.
Is anybody doing this?
But actually you can influence your nervous system by putting pressure on your eyeballs. It can sort of bring your lower your heart rate. And
it's cool. I mean, it's so relaxing.
Who needs DMT when you can do that?
Probably damages.
What I want to also talk about, are we done with the chiropractor train of thought?
No, if you still want to talk about it.
There's something else I want to talk about, non-toxic living, because you're like, that's something I'm learning more about. I've heard that term a lot, and we're good about like, we're fairly conscious about the things we bring into our home, but I would like to hear from you, like if you're talking to a total noob about what non-toxic living is and what are the most toxic things.
Yeah, talk to me. I'm a noob.
Like what would you say to a noob?
Well, non-toxic living is a whole world of things, and
you don't have to look at me.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
I'll look at you.
Okay.
I mean, you definitely want to first start thinking about your water.
We have a Berkey.
Wonderful. See, already.
We got a stand for it recently because you don't want to put the spout right against the edge.
Yes.
So now it sits up.
Helpful. Yeah. I got a plant stand for mine. And
nice.
Yeah, it works really well.
We should get sponsored by Berkey.
We should.
Yeah, reach out.
That would be nice.
Would they? I don't
know. Probably not. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so
especially not if
so I see people going to like Turn Up Truck and they get like the alkaline water and this water. Is that what you're talking about, or?
Oh no, just mainly the toxins that are in your tap water.
Right.
Even bottled water. Yeah. A lot of times is just.
I forgot my water bottle.
Tap water.
Literally, the one day I forget my water bottle. I texted Mike on the way here. I'm like, bro, I forgot my water bottle. I'm drinking bottled water.
Yeah.
So
it says purified though.
There's something called greenwashing that is really important when we're talking non-toxic living, actually. So thanks for bringing that up. Where, it can say things and it doesn't actually mean what it says.
Right.
There's not a lot of regulation on terms.
Yes.
And so we call it greenwashing, and they want to make it seem healthier or more environmentally friendly or whatnot. So yeah, water is a big one, but it definitely gets more in detail. But I like to start there because we are water, and you drink a lot of it. Your air as well, doing things just wonderful. Even just opening your windows is a really good practice to have. But then we start talking about your personal care products. So your shampoos, your conditioners, your makeups, your deodorants.
Done with them.
I mean, it's still totally relevant for men, but generally women tend to use, I believe on average, about 17 products a day.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard that
number. I got a new deodorant too that doesn't have any toxins or chemicals in it.
Nice. Yeah. Wonderful.
I do.
Yeah.
I get stinky.
That's from what you eat.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah. Your skin has a microbiome as well, bacteria and things. And so if that's a little bit off balance, we can emit certain smells from it.
Pheromones.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
But your cleaning products as well. So your laundry detergents, your disinfectant sprays.
This is so much work, though. I mean, like, how are you going to persuade, a lot of the people that are watching this to become, the non-toxic hippies?
Well, also, let's back it up. And what are the effects of using toxic products?
Right. That's a good point. And that's probably, I'd say one of the biggest things that you want to be mindful of are endocrine disruptors. So endocrine system is like your hormone system. Can just literally wreak havoc on your hormones. And we're already dealing with a lot of hormone issues. So that's a big thing. The sort of two buzzwords, I would say, are phthalates and parabens, which are great. Look for products that remove those, but there are certainly other endocrine.
I've heard of the parabens.
So that's a start. Okay. And that's something that, is happening with greenwashing. They'll be like, no parabens, but then there's fragrance. So you never want to see fragrance on a label.
Yeah, it's like when our shower head get like a little rusty or dirty. I've looked it up and it's like, okay, get a little bit of, apple cider vinegar, a little bit of water, and a little bit of baking soda, put it in a Ziploc bag, tie it around there. You take it off, 10 minutes later, clean.
Non-toxic living. There you go. See, you're not a noob.
Then we got a filter on our shower head.
What kind of noob
and
you
just talked about it being so hard, but look, your common everyday items: vinegar, baking soda, bit of essential oils.
Do you recommend like drinking the vinegar? I know people like take the shots of apple cider vinegar. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for some.
I used to do that a long time ago.
It's got some good healing properties.
Now she does it with eggs.
I haven't done that with eggs. That's Josh.
Yeah.
Shout out to Josh Lacash. Subscribe to Wrong Opinion.
I'm not going to mention his show unless he mentions ours. So
there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Non-toxins. Are we still talking non-toxins, or do you want to get right into people's, what do they want to know?
Well, look, we can preface a lot of the questions by talking about birth control and hormonal health for women, because that's a really big one.
Yeah,
I think
a lot of those came up.
We're just now it's becoming more of a conversation about the effects of hormonal birth control, and a lot of women are realizing that there's a lot of times more negatives than there are positives. And a lot of women who take birth control for certain symptoms, like for bad acne or for very heavy periods, a lot of women are finally realizing that the pill is just a Band-Aid that, disrupts your natural hormones and tricks your body into thinking it's already pregnant, and just masks a lot of things that are actually going on. So I guess kick off this conversation, talk a little bit about hormonal health in general, and then also maybe a little bit about how the pill can disrupt natural hormonal health.
Well, just even where we're talking about non-toxic living, these things are influencing people's hormones. And I think in this conversation, we're sort of mainly talking about reproductive hormones. So estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Right. But we have to remember, we have other hormones. So you have your adrenal hormones, which are your stress hormones like cortisol. You have your thyroid hormones, and they're all very interconnected. And so when we start seeing imbalance in one, we oftentimes start to see a trickle-down effect, and the other ones will be affected as well. So I don't know if that sort of addresses hormones in general, in the sense that, you don't have to have one specific hormone issue, but rather things are an intricate network of things. I don't know if that really made a whole lot of sense, but, I tried.
Is it always bad to trick your body by medicines or by therapies? Like you're saying, like the pill is, it tricks your body into thinking that you're pregnant. So is it always bad to trick your body to do things it's not doing at the moment?
I would be a little bit more specific in saying that the pill actually prevents you from ovulating.
Okay.
So I don't.
Ovulating is a natural occurrence in all women, yeah.
Yes, and what you need to have happen in order to get pregnant.
Right.
And in my opinion, and some literature indicates that the pill is very possibly contributing to infertility. It essentially creates like a hormone confusion. The pill is synthetic hormones. And so your body is going to respond to that by altering its own natural levels of hormones. And so, some women are on the pill for 10 years and you have essentially not ovulated that entire time. And so when we come off of the pill and then we just expect our body to be like, okay, I know how to ovulate and get pregnant. It's a little bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of infertility problems coming from that?
It's all, it's hard to always say this is cause and this is an effect, but certainly there is an association there, and it's documented.
Some correlation.
Yeah, well, the really messed up thing is that the standard OBGYN will always say that there is no connection between the birth control pill and infertility, which is so messed up.
Point blank.
They will say, oh, you know what, their reason, there's no literature. There are no studies to show the connection between hormonal birth control and infertility, when there are probably millions of women. And I did a survey. I'm still writing this investigative piece about birth control and its effects on women. And I received 250 responses in this survey, and I'm still trying to count, but countless accounts already of women who's really struggling with infertility after being on the pill for whether it's 4 years or 10 years. And every single one of them says to me, I know in my heart, I know that the pill was a big cause of my infertility. And every one of those women, they say they go to the doctor and they ask, I don't understand why I can't get pregnant. I really think it's related to the pill. And all the doctors will gaslight them and they'll say, no, that's nonsense. There's no connection. There's no literature. There's no studies. Like it's
Are there no
common
studies
sense.
Because that would take away the pill from people?
They want women on the pill.
And studies are only so valuable. They are intended to isolate a certain variable and try to determine, does this cause this?
Wouldn't it make sense though for any university that has a medical program to look into this?
They don't. This is what I'm saying. Big pharma is much more involved.
But there are people
medicine.
who fight against big pharma all the time that can fund a study like this. Or would no one want to participate? I don't know. Any millionaire or billionaire who has, a sort of NGO that could be like, I want to study the correlation between the
but I
pill
think
and
it wouldn't just be money. It would also involve like the doctors or the researchers who would be involved. Like there's a lot of people and a lot of parts that have to go into a study like that. I just don't understand
if you're a doctor and you want to see why something like infertility is a problem and you want to look to see if the pill has any effect on that, wouldn't you want to do research? Like, I don't understand. Like, why wouldn't there be any willing participants?
Because I really just don't think there are. I think most mainstream conventional doctors, I think most of them have no interest in that. I think most of them are beholden to where they make money, and a lot of them are beholden to big pharma. And I just think there's very little interest in the system to discover and investigate why so many women on birth control are suddenly infertile. And a lot of I've interviewed many doctors over the last, because I had a pulmonary embolism from birth control when I was 20. So I've always been interested in birth control. And I've spent years, even when I was working for liberal media as an editor, I would interview a lot of doctors, OBGYNs, and all of them say there's no literature, there's no connection, and none of them are willing to explore. And yet I've heard from hundreds and hundreds of women who say that they were on the pill for 12 years and their entire life is disrupted from it. They can't get a normal cycle. They have serious skin issues, obviously serious hormonal issues, and so many of them are infertile. They can't get pregnant. It's awful. It's really like if women listening to this, I know I'm not a doctor, but I don't care. Get off of the pill. Don't take the pill. Don't take it. Don't mess up your body, and don't listen to those quack doctors.
At least, at the very least, educate yourself on the risks of birth control. And I think
but how can they educate themselves if there's like nothing?
Well, there are more resources.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so there are, the pill is far reaching in its side effects. And, I do like to say that the pill did provide opportunities for women. In the 60s and 70s, it allowed women to choose when they would want to have a child or could instead go to work. So it did open up opportunities for women in that sense. But there's been no incentive to change, birth control. In fact, they developed a birth control for men, and the study was halted because men started experiencing things like headaches and I don't even remember what all the symptoms were, but
like the most
as a woman, you're like,
symptoms.
boo-hoo.
Right.
Yeah.
So like
Cry me a river. You got a headache?
So they halted that because of the minor symptoms, but for women having all these other side effects and symptoms of it, they're just like, nope.
And they're very, women are not educated at all. You know I got birth control without my parents' consent when I was 15 years old, maybe 16. Yeah.
What was the motivation for that?
I don't even know, to be honest.
Can I ask you a serious question? Were a lot of your friends on it?
Okay. Yeah, it was just the thing. Yeah, it was the thing. And had no education. Maybe they told me for increased risk of blood clots, but at 15 or 16 years old, I'm like,
yeah, they didn't even tell that to me.
So does it thin your blood too?
So it increases your risk of blood clots, which therefore increases your risk of stroke. And
wait, the pill increases risk of blood clots. Oh, yes. I thought you said it decreased the risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got sort of hormone confusion, increased risk of blood clots, increased risk of breast, cervical, and liver cancer. It disrupts your thyroid function. It disrupts your gut function. So we see a lot of gut dysbiosis, IBD. It really. It does a lot.
And I got a lot of women. Ask your girlfriends or wives how their experiences have been on the pill, because I'm
curious too.
Over half of women that are on the pill are not. It's not for preventing pregnancy. It's for managing
it's for hormonal issues, right?
It's for painful periods or heavier
or acne.
The pill will not fix your period.
Well, it's because every person is different, right? So it's just I don't understand, why. Not all women, but why women think that, taking this pill who's designed for everybody and not anyone specifically is.
Yeah, they hand it out like candy. They hand it out to girls as young as 14, 15. And I mean, I think because we're the same age, I think when we were around, because I started taking it later when I was like 18, but I think around that time, that was when it was really starting to just they would just hand it out to anybody. Yeah. So while we're on this topic, a really good resource for women who want to learn a little bit more. I don't know if you follow her, Dr. Jolene Brighton.
Yes, love her.
She's fantastic. She has a great book called Beyond the Pill.
She does.
And it's her life's mission, because she had a lot of health issues when she was younger, and she was just put on the pill very quickly without many questions when she was young too. So Beyond the Pill is a really great book to start. She talks a lot about how you mentioned gut issues. She says so many women come off the pill and have severe gut issues. And so she talks a lot about how to regulate your hormones naturally, and also how to understand your cycle, because I think that if we started to educate women on what their menstrual cycle actually is, and guess what, guys, you can only get pregnant on the days that you're ovulating. Yes, sperm can stay in your body for up to 6 or 7 days, but
you've got about a 6 to 8 day window,
right,
of fertility.
And so if more women knew that, then we would be able to manage our health and our hormones and our cycle and the ability or the possibility of getting pregnant much more easily. And so I think that's a really great resource and a really great place to start if you're a woman, or if you're a guy and you're married or you have a girlfriend and maybe you guys aren't ready to get pregnant yet, and that's fine. There are natural ways to manage that.
Totally. It's called the fertility awareness method.
Mm-hmm. FAM.
Yeah.
FAM.
Yeah. And it teaches you a lot. It teaches you about your body as well. And it's effective. If used appropriately, I believe it's like 95 to 99% effective at preventing pregnancy.
And then they say birth control, Dr. Brighton, she said birth control when used correctly is actually only like 91% effective.
The way that it's typically used.
Right.
If used totally correctly, it can be 99%
right. So
effective.
The way that women use it is 91% effective. Yeah. Okay.
91 doesn't seem that bad, but there are probably a lot of women. So 9% is a lot of women.
We have a lot of unexpected pregnancies still.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Despite the, very widespread use of birth control.
Yeah.
It triggers autoimmune disease too. Just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah. I think it's like a 300% increased risk of Crohn's disease in those who take the pill.
I was just about to ask you what's an example of an autoimmune, and Crohn's is one of those.
Yeah. So that's more of a gut.
What's another one?
Autoimmune
example
conditions. So Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
What's Hashimoto? I've heard that.
It's a thyroid issue that's autoimmune driven. It's like just right about here.
Oh, what does the thyroid regulate?
Your metabolic rate, in a sense. But as I was mentioning earlier, you're probably like, what the hell is metabolic rate?
Yes. Not a doctor.
Well, without getting too brainy, it just
I honestly believe I'm smarter than a bunch of them.
You can think about metabolism, metabolic sort of in that rate. So, it helps to keep processes running at a good rate. But more importantly, it really is about its interconnectivity. to
body's so amazing.
All the stuff.
So
you know,
cool.
It's not just like the thyroid does this one thing on its own, but you know, your brain actually is where thyroid function starts. You have things that begin in your brain and hormones trickle down, and we have this whole cool cycle that upregulates and downregulates, and that's why birth control really messes with it. Because you start putting in synthetic stuff and
all by chance this stuff happened.
Yeah, right.
Life is by chance. The human body
just body is incredible.
It is. Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
It's an amazing machine.
All life is incredible. The chicken body is fantastic.
Yeah.
Should we do
let's move in. Plant life is insane. Fantastic fungi. Amazing.
I was just going to say mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Mushrooms.
So insane.
Yeah.
How that whole ecosystem works. Go ahead. Fungus. Go ahead.
Fungus.
Let's start with some questions.
Now it's time to set the goals for the next cycle of inflation. This way you're always moving forward, growing, making money, not losing it. Imagine, have more freedom and more fun. Start a gold IRA with Noble Gold now and fight inflation. And this month, for every IRA above $20,000, you'll get an incredible 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin, completely free as a thank you. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Now remember, we have to mention our questioners' names.
Oh, we have to do that?
Yeah, it gives them a little shout out. They feel a little bit of pride of getting a question on, I think.
Okay. So
it's too much work to actually.
Here's a softball. Thoughts on intermittent. So first of all, guys, when we ask for questions, thoughts is not a question. I just wanted to throw it out there. One of my favorite people online, Alexander Cortez, who we will have on the show soon, he does AMAs and he always put, you can ask me anything. He says, by the way, thoughts is not a question. And he's correct. Thoughts is not a question.
Who's asking this thought question?
S Black 621. So I'll just rephrase her question. What do you think about intermittent fasting? Are there benefits?
Yes, definitely benefits to intermittent fasting. It sparks a process called autophagy, which it just can help clean up debris. Your body is constantly recycling tissue. And so intermittent fasting can be really beneficial for that. Now, in saying that, it's not appropriate, in my experience, it's not appropriate for a lot of people because of our modern day lifestyles. I see a lot of people that have hormone dysregulation, specifically stress hormone, so your cortisol. And if you have big fluctuations or just unstable cortisol levels, so you might notice it if maybe you don't sleep very well, like you wake up throughout the night, or you have just
without a kid sleeping in your bed.
Right. Yeah. So not driven by that, but driven by cortisol. You know, these people, if they can't fall asleep or they wake up at night and can't fall back asleep, you're going to have elevated cortisol levels throughout the night. And if you then are fasting, if you're not eating breakfast or something, you're only going to exacerbate the problem because eating means your body doesn't need to continue to produce cortisol. Your body will continue to try and produce cortisol while you're fasting in that sense. So it just depends in that sense. So intermittent fasting, yes, has benefits, but is it appropriate for everyone? Certainly not.
Okay.
Is that a method of tricking the body, intermittent fasting, or is that is it more beneficial than it is, like, let's say, like, you know, the pill, which is tricking your body to do this?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. You know, intermittent fasting doesn't come with the toxicity that it does.
I assume cave people weren't waking up and making eggs and, you know, sausages, you know, at 8 o'clock in the morning.
True.
Okay.
These people also were not dealing with the modern day stressors that we are. So that's exactly why I kind of bring up that nuance, because a lot of people that I particularly see, you know, this might not be the case for everyone, but generally when someone walks in my door, it is because they're stressed the hell out and we've got a lot of hormone stuff to work on. And so in that instance, intermittent fasting isn't going to be appropriate yet. That doesn't mean once we, you know, get things normalized and stabilized, we couldn't down the road start incorporating intermittent fasting.
Do you do it? Because I think I do it by ignorance. I think I don't eat anything after 8, and then I don't eat anything until like 8 or 9.
I used to.
Like black coffee.
I used to do it. I don't do it now because I'm breastfeeding. It's just a lot coming out of my body. But a lot of my clients who come to me with weight loss goals ask me if intermittent fasting is a good thing. And if a lot of times with women who come to me with like big weight loss goals, one of the most common mistakes they make is they just don't eat enough anyway.
Right.
Because they think that I'm gonna have a coffee in the morning, and next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock and they're starving, so they eat half a bagel, and then at 2 o'clock they just graze on some snacks or some chips, and
no
then
more bagels.
At like 8 o'clock at night they just like binge eat, you know. So for cases like that, I don't really say that intermittent fasting is good for weight loss. But when I did fasting, it wasn't for like a weight loss thing. It was because I felt very clear-headed.
Right. So that's kind of the indicator, right? If you wake up and you're not hungry and you're not symptomatic, then you're probably okay to intermittent fast. But if you're not sleeping well, you're waking up sort of with a headache or you're nauseous, you might not feel like eating because you're nauseous. But if you have those symptoms, it's probably more indicative of a hormone issue, and you should try and force yourself to eat something, even if it's just a couple of bites of something. Right. Maintaining stable blood sugar also plays a role in your hormone control and balance. So if you're not symptomatic and you're not hungry, by all means, try intermittent fasting.
This is free advice from a doctor.
Yeah.
What are prescription?
Right. What are some practical ways to improve your diet on a low budget? I'm a recent college grad. Oh, this is from the real lib dog.
The real lib dog?
It's very practical.
What was the question again?
What are some practical ways to improve your diet on a low budget, parentheses, recent college grad?
Don't eat out. You know, eating out is actually way more expensive than cooking your own food at home. Eat seasonally. So if you buy seasonal produce, it tends to be cheaper. Go to farmers markets. Things tend to, depends on where you live, but things can be lower priced at farmers markets. You know, it depends on how particular we're getting, because I'm going to not recommend any sort of processed food, and it's always going to be real food. So then the budget option is whether you're getting organic or not.
I think organic with fruits is better, because the way I only hate bringing up my wife on the show, because if I get it wrong, I'm gonna hear about it. So
that makes sense.
I think it was
to be in trouble.
Organic on something that you could peel the skin off. Organic doesn't necessarily really matter, she was saying, but like something like a strawberry, organic strawberry, you're biting right onto it, probably better than
right. There's definitely merit to that.
Yeah, so some organic products you don't necessarily need. But
right. Yeah, you can certainly budget and save by choosing certain organic options. And if you look at the Dirty Dozen, which the Environmental Working Group puts out, those are the ones that you most want to buy organic, because they're most heavily sprayed with pesticides and herbicides.
So we don't really care for organic avocados versus regular avocado. We'll get the regular avocados. Yeah. So I don't know if they're on the...
Avocados are not on the Dirty Dozen.
Do you know of the Dirty Dozen off the top of your head? Or can you name between 5 to 6?
Okay. Definitely your leafy greens.
Okay.
Bell peppers. Peaches.
Oh.
Strawberries. Blueberries.
These are the ones that you want to get organic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we get organic blueberries.
Yeah,
we do too.
Yeah, you're really putting me on the spot here. I put it on my business card.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting you to name all 12. I just wanted some examples.
Yeah. Fruits tend to be definitely your leafy greens are big ones.
Are apples on there?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, definitely organic apples.
We always get organic apples.
And you can do things to foods.
Clean.
Yeah. So you could do like a vinegar wash.
Scrub it.
Yeah. There are some non-toxic brands that make food washes, but you can also use vinegar, baking soda.
Right.
Wash your stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. The lib dog.
The real lib dog. What are some of your favorite Nate Lender? Forgot to say the name. What are your favorite resources for information on non-toxic living /medicine?
Myself.
That's what she's about to say. Me.
No, I definitely get information from other people as well, but certainly I studied it, so that helps.
Is there a Toxic Living for Dummies book?
I don't know.
Something similar?
I thought about writing one.
You should write one.
Yeah. You know, like your guide to a healthy home.
Yeah.
I started, actually. Should maybe finish that one day.
Yeah.
But Environmental Toxins Nerd is a good Instagram account. And also the Environmental Working Group app. They have a Healthy Living app, it's called. Yeah, Healthy Living. I have heard that it's been bought and, is not as
corporate.
Yeah. However, still very, very useful. You can literally, if you're in the store, open your app, scan a barcode.
Oh, really?
And if the product is in the database, it will give you a toxicity score. And so you want to try and keep that score below 3. So I do recommend downloading the Healthy Living app.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And learning how to read labels or make your own stuff.
Yeah, there are sugars that are disguised by words that you don't know. So I've been becoming very active in reading labels now. So
you have to. Honestly,
it's like, okay, no more Oreos. What can I get? Okay, let me look at the Paul Newman cookies.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay, I guess no more cookies.
Yeah. Try Thrive Market. It's a good...
well, we have the Thrive app. Yeah,
wonderful.
So that's what we've been using. So I've been buying
that doesn't mean everything that they have is, what I would recommend, but it's a great place to go and at least have a lot better options.
Yeah, we mostly get a lot of our groceries from Thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Packaged stuff.
Yes.
So everyone needs snacks though.
I love snackies. We're like,
there was some cool peanut butter and almond butter filled pretzels from Thrive Market that we got. The almond ones were really good. Yeah.
From Wessica Jelchis.
What?
I think she switched around the first letter. It's probably Jessica Welch's, but it's Wessica Jelchis.
Cool.
Cool. So I would be...
I'd be Michael Merner.
Bina John Tempo.
I'm going to start calling you Bina.
I can't even...
Oh, your name would be... Can't even do that.
Pami.
Petrus. No. Silly.
It doesn't work on you.
No, it doesn't.
Hormonal cramps are extremely painful and getting worse. Anything I can do to naturally ease the pain?
Sure. Get your hormones checked first and foremost, probably. Well, you don't have to, but certainly adopting an anti-inflammatory diet. Cramps are often driven by underlying inflammation. So we feel them because of something called prostaglandins, which contribute to the inflammation. So that's why things like ibuprofen help, because it reduces the inflammation. But there are certainly things that you can do naturally. Raspberry leaf tea. You can use a hot pad or a hot pack, heating pad, whatever you want to call it. You can use essential oils. I personally make up like a little coconut oil with clary sage and peppermint and lavender essential oil. Rub that on the area.
Nice.
You sound like a nice witch.
Yeah, I definitely, I've got my potions.
Concoctions.
Concoctions.
Totally. Cramps bark is a little, you can get it in like a little tincture and put that in your tea if you want. There are a lot of...
how do functional medicine doctors feel about the use of CBD?
I would imagine that it's different from practitioner to practitioner, but I like CBD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's got good...
Makes me sleep nice.
Yeah.
I put it on areas that hurt, and then it don't hurt.
And then
I give it to my dog.
Yeah.
I use it occasionally.
I think we give Mama CBD treats.
Yeah.
Mama.
Yeah. Trash dog. We have a trash dog.
Have you ever seen that show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Do you
Not a lot though.
Did you ever see Mac's dog that like won't die? This indestructible dog. It's
if you're
like
playing the I'm
dog.
Doing Great the I'm Doing Great bingo, and you have Always Sunny in Philadelphia dog.
Yeah.
Because you brought that up a couple of times.
Because Mama is a trash dog.
We have to.
Mama's
I'm sorry,
like
but we have to
Poppins.
make IDG bingo for like merch.
Oh yeah, that's a good
right?
idea.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I like that.
You can
I
play
really
along
like that.
every time I interrupt. Oh, you interrupt.
Yeah, or every time I say, I don't know. What do I say a lot? Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, you do say that a lot.
I say that a lot. I also say, I don't know. Probably every time I shit on doctors or mainstream medicine. I don't mean to. It's not like they're all like that. Are you showing Mama or Trash Dog?
Trash Dog. Mama is Trash Dog.
Oh, I mean Poppins.
Yeah. She's Trash Dog because she's just a trash dog.
She does look like...
She's friends with raccoons and stuff like that.
She does kind of look like she lives in a dumpster.
Right, exactly. So we have a Mama voice. Mama's voice is like, oh, hey, my friend Squirrel's coming over later. Like, that's Mama's voice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
but can we all
You guys throwing that out?
Voices for our animals? Though?
Yeah. What's Taco's voice?
Taco's kind of gay, Puerto Rican.
Taco's coming on the show soon, guys.
Yeah, Taco's going to be on the show. Taco's like, hey, how are you? Kind of like that.
Yeah,
really,
he does. Taco has the breath of a trash dog.
True. Yeah.
He's got, but Chihuahuas always have stinky breath.
Yeah, it's weird that I advocate for pit bulls so much, but I don't have any currently. Isn't that kind of weird? You would expect me to have one.
Why don't you get one?
I don't want to go into that on the show. It's nobody's business.
Why, are you afraid it's going to attack your child?
No. I'm fine. I think we would have to reach a familial consent on the next dog that we want if we wanted to get one.
Oh, I see.
Or not consent, but familial. I
don't know.
Reach a agreement. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Compromise.
and I don't think we're there yet on what kind of breed we would want to get.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm pro pit, obviously.
Pro pit.
I want to get a puppy though.
Pit apologist. Do you want to make some pit merch?
No.
You don't.
No.
Why? You're afraid nobody's going to buy it?
No.
That's what it is.
Oh, no. People hit my DMs up in full support.
Then why won't you?
Because I don't want to succumb to that level
of you don't need to. Okay.
You know my views.
Okay.
That's it. You don't need to wear a shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fleckus has anti-pit merch.
I know he does.
We have, this is a running thing of the show. I would say 100% of our guests who have come on to talk about pit bulls oppose Mike's views.
Not every guest does talk about it, but the ones who do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That took a turn.
They're anti-pit bull.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
it's just ignorance.
We have a friend of the show who believes that all pit bulls should be put down.
Yeah,
but I think he says that jokingly. I don't think.
No, he
really
doesn't.
Means it. Really?
No.
Do you mean it, John? I think John
100% means it.
John doesn't seem like somebody who would say something he doesn't mean, so he probably does mean it.
It's the problem with once the groypers kind of jump on an issue. Now all pit bull haters have jumped into my DMs, sending me stuff all the time.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I welcome it though, because if I say I hate it, they're just going to keep on sending it to me. But I love it.
Yeah.
Send it.
You're like, thanks for the vid.
Yeah.
I mean, is it the pit bull's fault or?
It goes a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's like me punching you in the face versus Mike Tyson punching you in the face. Which one you expect is going to hurt more? And
it's
also,
not like that
people are applying human reason and logic to animals. It's like I wouldn't bite a child. Why would I bite a child?
Right.
A dog isn't like, you know what? It's probably a bad idea to bite that child.
Right.
Yeah. Dogs don't have that reasoning and logic. They're animals. And to treat them as humans is not, I'm saying that that's what they do. They don't treat them as humans, but they treat them as these reasoning beings.
But I think we already treat them like humans is the problem. Because if...
I don't. I treat my dogs like dogs. Even if I do give them human voices, they're still dogs. When Mama licks her vulva, I can't do anything about that. Like, you wouldn't do that in front of everybody. Mama would.
We have a voice for Koshia. What's our voice for Koshia? What's the voice for Koshia? It's like, Koshia, stop, father. Oh, yeah. She goes, yeah. No, the microphone didn't capture that.
People who are watching this are like, what happened?
My husband.
What happened to what they were doing?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's because she was
Do you like you have dogs. You have two dogs.
dogs.
So do you have,
Yeah.
So if patients come to you, are the dogs there or no?
Sometimes I would love for them to be all the time, but I have one dog who is just a bit uncontrollable. He's a little 5-pound Pomapoo.
Uncontrollable, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, odd.
Yeah.
I thought that usually big muscular dogs were mostly uncontrollable.
Yeah. And he might bite. I'm not going to lie.
He might bite? You allow that?
Yeah.
Jeez, you should probably talk to your dog about biting things.
Right?
I thought you were going to say you should probably put him down.
No. Yeah. I thought about saying that, but I wasn't going to say that. Right? No, I would never say that. Next question.
Yeah.
From Narik
Are there any friends of the show questions coming up?
I don't see any.
Oh, boy.
Yet. Is gestational diabetes a modern thing? How do we avoid it?
I don't know if it's a modern thing.
Can we start by what is gestational diabetes? I know what diabetes are, but what's gestational?
Diabetes that occurs in a pregnant
in the womb.
Mama.
Oh.
Yeah, they kept telling me.
That the baby is born with? Or that the mother gets diabetes
the mother has diabetes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, isn't it kind of a weird occurrence? Like some women who don't have diabetes, they can get it while they're pregnant, gestational diabetes when they're pregnant.
Yeah, although my assumption or my approach would be, what really did that mother's blood sugar look like before getting pregnant?
Yeah.
So this kind of goes back to that the differences in lab ranges and blood work, right? So in a conventional model, if your fasting glucose is 99, you're good because you didn't go over 100. But really, in a functional medicine approach, you would see that you are approaching a diabetic state or, a diabetic state. Again, I don't love labels, but so, was that there before the mom got pregnant. So I don't know if that's, if I can really answer the question on whether it's a modern day thing. How do you prevent it? In my eyes, it'd be the same way that you prevent regular diabetes.
Is it because of the diet once the woman becomes pregnant? You think there's probably a change in the diet and what they want to eat? Does that have anything to do with it maybe? Or
I don't know about that. My OB just explained to me how gestational diabetes starts when you're pregnant.
Is it dangerous?
It can be.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it can be because the baby gets way too big.
Right.
Yeah, they tried to tell me that I had gestational diabetes because my baby was just like, they say she's so huge. She was born 8 pounds. That's not huge. That's like a normal size baby. And they tried to get me to do the, what do you call it? The finger prick every day. They gave me the stuff and I was like, because I took the test. I drank the friggin' thing and and they took stuff. It was disgusting. And I came out normal and they said, well, you're actually on kind of the higher end of
drink?
normal.
It's a sugar drink, essentially. They just
to see how your sugar levels are affected.
Yeah.
Tastes good?
Oh,
no, it tastes like absolute.
I've never done it.
Dog crap, just sugar.
Mama would love it.
Mama would love it.
Give me that dog crap.
Yeah.
I just ate some dog crap, guys.
Yeah.
That's Mama.
That was Christina.
Hey, guys, what are you doing? Just noticed that the trash bag is on the floor over there. I'm going to go eat.
That's a good voice for Mama.
Yeah.
We should include a photo of Mama so that people can know.
I'll put it up there.
Yeah. Throw it up there. And then next episode, you can see there. Taco.
Yeah.
Tacos and his stinky breath.
Adriano, do we know how much time has been running? Because now I'm going to totally forget where that is.
1 hour and 14 minutes.
Okay, cool. 1 hour 14. Remember to put picture of Mama.
Okay. So there's a lot of thoughts questions. Can we not, guys?
Well, Amy might have thoughts.
Might.
This is the person's
as a
username.
Woman.
As of 10 as possible, be kind.
Yes, we've fumbled over this name
as
before.
As often as possible, be kind.
Yes. I remember you.
Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
Thoughts on birth control being classified as a class 1 carcinogen?
I think it should be classified as a class 1 carcinogen. It increases your risk of cancer.
Ooh, hot take. I would assume, right?
That's all there really is to say about that.
Thank you. As often as possible, be kind.
Yeah, I think it should be.
This is actually a good question. EJ Carroll, how often should people poop and fart? What's normal?
I talk about poop a lot. You can learn a
2
lot
times a day?
about your health. 1 to 3
That's
times. 1 to 3 times a day.
You don't hold
typical.
in farts, I hear. You don't want to do that.
You shouldn't hold in farts.
Right.
But if you are excessively gassy, we're probably looking at a little bit of gut dysfunction or gut dysbiosis.
Yeah.
Excessive might be
that's so
relative.
Nice. Why is it
Also,
nice?
the smell, if you're having really stinky farts.
What if they're really, like Gavin said, like mineralistic, almost like sulfurish?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, sulfur, I like the smell of sulfur. So it's weird.
So you like farts?
No. So there are clothes that used to, like black clothing. A way to make some clothes black is to sulfur wash them. So especially there are a couple of shirts that Double RL made that were sulfur washed. So you'd be able to smell the sulfur in the t-shirts. It's really cool. I have one of them. While I was working there, I would just go and smell the shirts.
Yeah, do I
have a problem?
No, there's a certain percentage of the population that likes that smell.
Yeah.
It's like
at an elevated level, it's probably too much.
Skunks.
Oh yeah, right. Skunk,
too.
Yeah. Roll that window down, I say.
You love it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You like the skunk smell?
Yeah.
In the air, not like if they spray you. That's different.
Just not on me, just around me.
Okay, wait.
This is a very telling episode. I think people are going to learn a lot
here's a good one. Son.av.vikinger. Are there any vaccines you believe are truly necessary for kids and or adults? Which and why?
That's a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's certainly an individual's choice, and there needs to be a risk-benefit analysis, much like anything. We should really be weighing our risk and our benefits when we're talking about injecting your body with something.
Mm-hmm.
rather than give my opinion specifically on that, I think just knowing a few things about the vaccine industry might be a better way to address it. Because to be honest, I haven't sat down and read every single thing about every single vaccine and would say that, it's appropriate for this person. It's more nuanced than that. Whenever your doctor tells you that you need all of these in this schedule and it's the same for everyone, don't just listen to that. Certainly do your own research. Every vaccine has an insert, which some doctors are not even aware of. I think it's very important to know that, this was even admitted at I think it was called the Vaccine Safety Summit that the World Health Organization held. And they were trying to address vaccine hesitancy and admitted that the research just isn't even good enough. And that's why we have vaccine hesitancy, and because we have doctors and nurses who can't answer patients' questions because they're lucky to receive a half day of education on vaccines. So
the people who administer them or who recommend them would know, the slightest bit of information about them.
We have this really strong, years and years we've been conditioned to trust our doctors. There's this very strong trust that a lot of people place in their doctors, and it would be lovely if we could all just do that. And I think you should be able to trust your doctor. But unfortunately, whenever you learn something like that, well, wait a minute, they only had a half a day of most parents have educated themselves more than that. I, educated myself on vaccines more in last week than a half day. JustTheInserts.com is an excellent resource, and actually only uses CDC, FDA information, pulls it straight from the inserts. So it's really, really excellent resource that kind of helps you go through that risk-benefit analysis. But like I said, just knowing some things that maybe your doctor is not as educated as you might believe them to be. And so just going with their opinion. Again, when I was talking earlier about how the AMA influences how a physician practices, not all of them are just practicing medicine what they believe is best, but working off of protocols. And that half a day of education was very likely memorizing the CDC schedule so they could pass a test on it. A lot of doctors don't know about VAERS, which is the reporting system for adverse effects of.
Well, if they didn't before, they probably know now.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And just knowing things, back in the early 80s, we had about, I don't know, maybe 10 doses. Don't quote me on the number, but it was quite lowish at the time. 10 doses of vaccines. And then in 1986, all liability was removed from vaccine manufacturers. So they could not be held liable for any injury or death caused from their products. And after that, we have seen exponential increase in the amount of vaccines that are administered. It's up to now, I believe, 74 doses for children before the age of 18. So just knowing some of those things, being more aware, trusting your own instinct, finding a practitioner that you trust, very, very important when it comes to, and also you should know in trials, vaccines are not compared to a true placebo. So a true placebo would be a saline injection, but vaccines are actually tested against. The control group is either another vaccine or the adjuvants that are added to a vaccine. So a vaccine's not just, viral components. It's got other things in it to help stimulate an immune response. So without even having a true placebo, it's hard to even really assess the safety of a vaccine whenever you don't have a proper control group.
Why don't they do that, you think?
That's a great question.
Okay, next question.
Yes,
why do you think they don't do that?
We've had a friend, a guest on the show. I don't want to out him, but whenever he was trying to decide to vaccinate his kids, he researched a ton, and he brought a 50-page document that he wrote with questions and notes on all of because he subscribed to a lot of the medical journals about reactions from vaccines. And he brought the packet to his pediatrician, and he said, if you can answer all of my questions in this packet, I will vaccinate all of my children exactly as you say. And the doctor looked at him. He was like, sorry about my life. She's like, fuck it. Just don't vaccinate your kids. He like couldn't answer any of the questions.
Yeah.
Because they're just not educated on it. And like
the doctor said, don't do it.
The doctor said, well, I can't answer any of your questions. So just do whatever you want. He like refused to even answer any of the questions that he brought to him, which is like,
this is why they held that vaccine safety summit, because doctors can't answer parents' questions anymore. They're more educated on.
Great.
But truly, Just the Inserts is a really great resource. Also, the book Dissolving Illusions talks a lot about vaccine history.
Anthony showed me that book.
It's a great book. And so, it will kind of show you, here's when vaccines were introduced. A lot of the diseases we were trying to prevent were actually already very much on the decline and plateaued, and then vaccines were introduced. So sometimes it was just creating the illusion that, vaccines are what prevented these diseases. But, it has a lot to do with sort of the sanitary revolution and zoning and other things.
So you're not just throwing feces out on the street anymore.
Right.
And just, dumping your urine everywhere.
Right.
There's a lot of questions about Gonstead.
Yeah.
Gonstead philosophy.
Wild.
We've gotten, what is that?
Wild. It's a chiropractic technique. Which I'm glad you asked this question, because I was just realizing that we didn't really talk about what chiropractic does or is. I think we talked about it in terms of pain management.
But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that right now. Yeah.
Let's really talk about it. And then I'll bring in Gonstead.
Okay.
So, we have this perception that chiropractic is about back pain, that's why, or neck pain. That's why most people come to us. And it's very, very good at managing those conditions. But chiropractors are actually working with your nervous system. So your nervous system is your brain, your spinal cord, all the nerves that come out to control a lot of things. Not just, your nerves control your muscles and the way that we move, but they also go to your heart, your lungs, your gut. And so they affect the way that you breathe, digest, all of that. And when we make adjustments, without getting too nerdy, we're looking for joint dysfunctions. Chiropractors call them subluxations. So your bone's not out of place. I know some chiropractors very much mean well, but they try to really simplify what we do so that it's better understood by the public. But I like to go a little over the top maybe, and just so people understand a little bit more. So we're looking for those joint dysfunctions because in every one of your joints, you have these mechanoreceptors, and they send information to your brain and help your brain and body communicate with one another to help control all those functions that we talked about. And so if you have a joint dysfunction, that information is not as optimal as it could be. And so then you start to see things like pain or other symptoms pop up. And when we adjust those areas, restore proper joint function, you now have better brain-body communication. And so this is why chiropractors see a lot more cool things happen than just pain relief. We oftentimes see better sleep, better digestion, fewer illnesses even because of its effects on the immune system. In chiropractic, we kind of have a little saying to expect miracles because honestly, truly, really cool things happen. So that's just a little bit about what chiropractic is and what it can do. But Gonstead is just a technique. So there are, a lot of different techniques within chiropractic, which is essentially just how the chiropractor applies their adjustments to someone. Gonstead is really X-ray heavy. So they'll X-ray everyone and they'll actually look for things that...
abnormalities?
Well, they'll identify maybe a high right hip or little vertebrae might be twisted or turned on X-ray, and that's what they will adjust. Gotcha. Correct. It's not the way that I practice. I don't have any problem with Gonstead by any means because truly, when you adjust the spine, no matter what segment you're doing it on, obviously the idea is to really address the ones that are more dysfunctional, but you're influencing the brain in such a powerful way with any adjustment that you see results. So no matter what sort of technique a chiropractor is using, I believe they are benefiting that person. Can some techniques or philosophies benefit the patient even more? Yes, I do also believe that. But, if Gonstead's your jam and you're getting help with a Gonstead chiropractor, by all means, go for it. I would avoid unnecessary radiation via x-rays, but, that's me.
What's the method that you and Anthony use? Is there a name for it?
Well, it's more of a diversified approach, which just means kind of manual adjustments, full spine. But to be perfectly honest, I don't apply a certain technique to every single patient. I see the patient, assess what's best for them. So I treat them in a way that I would generally treat someone. And then you get feedback from someone. If someone feels after an adjustment that they got hit by a truck, or they're like, I just was like so tired and had a headache, we know that we've probably overstimulated their nervous system, maybe did a little bit too much for what that person can handle. It has something to do with what's called their metabolic capacity. What can they actually handle? And so then I'll dial it back and use things maybe like activator, which is a little tool.
Is that the click, click?
Yeah. So just more low force stuff. So all that's to say, I don't really practice a specific technique and apply that to all patients. I try to let the patient's body sort of guide me in what I do and what's best for them.
Do you do acupuncture?
So I was certified in dry needling in the UK. Loved it. And when I moved back to the States, the certification does not transfer. So legally,
you'd have to re-go through.
Yeah, legally, okay. I can't do it here. I would have to recertify.
But you can do it on Friends, right?
As long as you don't sue me.
Can't promise that.
Dry needling has helped my back a lot.
Yeah, I love dry needling. I would love to have that in my toolbox.
Yeah, my PT runs
Is it
a
expensive
current
to get like the certification again?
I don't know. It's probably, for right now, it's more just time. I believe it's about another 150, 200 hours or something. Really? Yeah.
Oh,
although
wow.
In saying that, I think there are now like weekend courses.
Okay.
Which a lot of acupuncturists would probably not feel great about, which, I would say the same thing. If there was a weekend course where someone could learn how to adjust someone, like, no, you don't want to be going to that person. I'm
going to watch a lot of YouTube videos and then start adjusting
Right,
people.
Exactly.
There you go. Side gig.
Acupuncture is different from dry needling. It's sort of same needles, but different theories
like
and
the
approaches.
Cupping too? Like what's that all about? What is
cupping.
Wait, what does that do?
I just had cupping done for the first time.
Are these just fads?
Or
Do they really have medicinal? Really?
Totally. Yeah.
What are they? The marks freak me out.
Yeah. So it's drawing blood to the area. So when you bring blood to an area, it helps stimulate healing. You have a lot of healing properties in your blood. So it helps draw out toxins, improve lymphatic flow, and just overall. Acupuncture actually, dry needling, is a bit similar in that when you stick the needle in a muscle, you stimulate blood flow to the area.
Right.
Acupuncture also, though, is working with your nervous system too, in the sense that it's a sensory input.
Yeah. Isn't it? You were just talking about blood, but don't doctors today still use leeches or utilize leeches at all, or no?
I don't know. I don't think so. They definitely did.
I don't know if I saw like an episode.
I'm sure
of House.
there's some underground doctor out there that is.
Yeah, maybe.
I would assume so.
Yeah. I love the dry needling because my PT will run a current through it, and he'll do it on like, I have this almost like where the curve is in my spine is almost like a dead zone. The muscles there have been in spasm for a long time. So he'll put the dry needle in there and then do a current, and it will contract and release the muscle manually. It's like,
oh, really?
Yeah, that's wild. Feels weird.
How useful is a PT as well, though? Like I've known people who have gone to medical doctors for issues, but have gone to physical therapists, and they've totally changed their lives as far as like for the better.
Yeah, I mean, my PT that I have here is phenomenal. It depends on the practitioner.
You rely on them for different things, though.
Yeah.
You're not just saying go to a PT for everything.
Yeah, and like my PT does dry needling, he does scraping, he does soft tissue work, does a lot of cupping. Like he does the cupping and then actually has me come into cat-cow and do a little bit of like cat-cow while with the cups on my back.
What?
But yeah, and it's like
cat-cow?
Yeah.
You never heard it?
No, what's that?
Oh, it's like when you're on all fours, your knees and your hands, and you arch up and then you look up. So it's like this, it's from yoga.
Oh.
It's back and forth.
Okay.
So that's really nice.
I got notified that we're running at a certain time. Is that okay, or do you guys need to wrap, or can we keep going?
I mean, we should go soon-ish. Wait, you're saying you also have to go?
No. I got notified.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, we should wrap it up soon so we get back to the baby.
How many more questions do you want to do? You want to do one or two?
Yeah, let's do a couple more. Smarty 35. For women, how to regulate your cycle after getting COVID?
That's a tough one to answer, really. It depends on...
That would be like a personal thing. You got to know more about it, right?
Right, totally. I mean, why did COVID influence your cycle? You know, what was your cycle like before that?
Follow up with us.
Yeah, I mean, I would say anything that I would say to anyone trying to regulate their cycle, whether you had COVID or not, which is to eat well. Seed cycling is a really cool thing you can do to try and help regulate your cycle. You eat a specific kind of seed for the first half of your cycle. Second half of your cycle, you eat a different kind of seed. The fats seed cycling. Yeah.
Like seeds?
Like seeds, yeah. So for the first half, you do like pumpkin seeds.
Oh, okay.
And after you hit day 14, if you're on a regular cycle, and you can start with sesame and sunflower seeds.
Adjustment.
Then I do it like this. Yeah. I'm a chiropractor.
That one's freaky. Let's make this the last one. Oh my gosh, Josh 47 says, friend of the show?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my gosh,
Hi.
Josh. Are vegetables good for you, or do the defensive toxins cancel out any benefits?
You did talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we did kind of talk about this.
Thanks a lot, Josh.
Certainly vegetables are good for you. There are ones whose defense mechanisms are stronger.
We have someone
than
who
like
love
broccoli.
a debate.
Yeah.
Like broccoli, right? They have really strong defense.
Yeah.
You hear that, Josh? Vegetables can be okay.
Yeah, totally.
Change your mind.
You hear
I
that,
would be
carnivore
really
MD?
interested to see what you're eating if you're not eating vegetables. I mean, I'm assuming just meat and fruit.
Would you ever be interested
Yeah.
in talking to someone who's like, no vegetables, no good?
Sure.
Because that's what
I love
carnivore
that.
MD says. He
Yeah.
says all vegetables are trash, which is like, come on. I mean,
Does he
this guy,
actually say that? He literally says
he
that?
literally says
Oh.
that. He says all vegetables are trash. But this guy
Is that
also
the guy
lives,
with the 8-pack and the beard? Who
No
drinks
beard.
the ox blood?
he does drink the ox blood. That's
Okay,
him.
yeah.
But he also lives in Costa Rica and like has access
Does he see
to-
patients?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he was a practicing physician. I don't know if he sees patients now.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but don't quote me on that.
I could tell you that a lot of my patients would be not in good shape if they were not eating any vegetables. But
Right.
certainly some, like I don't tend to eat legumes very often
Yeah.
because they
I don't
have
like
quite
legumes.
strong defense
I had
mechanisms.
beets the other day. My wife put it in a smoothie. I didn't know until she told
Beets?
me. Yeah.
Beets are great.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you
They're great.
poop red?
They're good
Sometimes
for
it happens.
hormones too.
Been
so-
looking a
Oh, I
lot
didn't know
more.
that.
No red.
No red.
I look now. I see
happens.
that's healthy.
Yeah.
I look at it.
Yeah, you look at the poop. It's
It
good.
is. Your
Yeah.
poop can tell you a lot.
Yeah,
It really
a lot
can.
of signals.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add really quick, if you guys want to see more of Dr. Amy, I have a health and wellness event coming up here in Nashville in 2 weeks on May
You
21st
guys doing stuff together?
and May
Oh,
22nd.
yeah.
She's going to be a panelist. She's going to come and speak a lot more about health and wellness, and it will be an open Q&A. We have, I think, about 40 tickets left. It's a free event, I should also say. It's a free event to come. It's from 12 to 4, Saturday, May 21st
people
at the
total?
Foundry. We can get maximum 100.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we're aiming for like 70 to 80.
Okay.
Well, then actually I did the math wrong because we have given away, I don't want to say sold, 52 tickets.
Oh, that's good.
So we have,
Nice.
yeah. So free event. I'm gonna kick off by speaking.
Come learn.
Yeah, come learn. We have Dr. Amy there. We also have a panelist named Jillian. She's a YouTuber who talks a lot about the dichotomy of femininity and masculinity, and she herself had massive chronic illness for a long time, and she'll talk a lot about how she healed herself. So it's going to be a really good, it's women only. Sorry, guys. It's a women only event. Actually, though, Mike will be there because he's going to be doing some filming with my husband there.
What?
So yeah. I mentioned this
Surprise.
to you a long time ago.
When is this?
May 21st. If Mike's not
Oh,
there,
okay.
then he's
My
not
husband
there.
too.
Okay, yeah. No, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did mention that. I probably forgot.
Dr. Amy and her husband, Dr. Anthony, are going to have a booth there because this is just a crazy thing.
Oh, yeah.
So one day we had them over for dinner, and I
Wild.
was telling this to you.
Don't give
and-
any specifics.
Yeah, no. And we were just kind of talking. So you can see Amy in person on May 21st, and you can definitely ask any questions, and you can, talk to her and her husband. They're both chiropractors. And then if you live in the Nashville area and want to be treated by them, they're also here. So that's a plug. I'll put the link in the description to get tickets for the event.
Okay.
But is there anything else we want to say before we wrap?
No.
Tell everybody where to find you.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram. My personal/professional account is Dr. Amy Kate, doctor spelled out. And then we have the Healing Place account, which is the name of our clinic. So that is the.healing_place. We've got a website, hellohealingplace.com. Yeah.
They also sell really cute vintage clothes. I
yes,
got
we
this
do.
top a couple weeks ago. I'm about to go down and
When
shop.
is that from?
Oh, gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm not like, vintage is a very loose term anymore, like stuff that I was wearing in middle school. Now people are wearing and calling it vintage. That was like early 2000s. If it's 20 years old, it's vintage now. So
they're having a pop up
Who knows?
tomorrow too, but the episode's not going to be out by then. So never mind. But
No.
anyway,
But we'll
Today
do it
is
the
probably
day after
Tuesday.
your event too.
oh, okay. Yeah. So on Sunday, May 22nd, they're also having a little vintage clothing pop up. So you can come
just
check it
for
out
you
too.
guys.
Just for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. I know you're
Thank
super
you.
busy. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Dr. Amy.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Dr.
having me.
Amy. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Trust her, she's a doctor. Trust the experts, only the right experts.
Trust yourself.
Eat good food, get good sleep, don't take the pill, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't use deodorant either.
Yeah.
Actually, don't use deodorant.
Yeah, I don't really either. I did put some on today, which was like the first time in a month because I used self tanner yesterday. I've got a good non-toxic one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't use self tanner that often, but like that transition moment between winter to spring to summer when like legs start coming out. I was like, oh my God, I need some color on my body.
Very white legs.
Oh, that's you, Dr.